The stars were bright that night when Princess stood on the observation deck of her royal ship. She looked out at the endless darkness of space and felt a strange feeling in her heart. Something was calling her, something far away. She did not know what it was, but she could not ignore it. Was the only daughter of Queen Bora, the powerful ruler of the empire. The people were tall and beautiful. Their skin was pale blue and their eyes shone like silver moons. They had lived among the stars for thousands of years. They had built great cities on many planets. They had created wonderful machines and weapons. They were proud, and they believed they were the greatest beings in the universe. Queen Bora loved her daughter more than anything, was kind and gentle. She had a warm smile that could make anyone feel happy. The queen had great plans for her. One day would become the new queen. She would lead their people into a new age of glory. But was different from other. She did not care about power or glory. She wanted to explore. She wanted to see new worlds and meet new beings. She wanted to understand the universe, not rule it. On this night's ship was traveling near a small yellow star. The humans called it the sun. Near this star was a small blue planet called Earth. They knew about Earth. They had watched the humans for many years. They thought humans were primitive and weak. Humans lived short lives. They fought wars with each other. They had not even traveled beyond their own moon. They did not think humans were important. They were just another young species that would probably destroy itself before it could grow. But was curious about them. She had read many reports about Earth. She had seen pictures of their blue oceans and green forests. She had learned about their music, their art, and their stories. There was something about humans that interested her. They were weak, yes, but they were also brave. They kept trying, even when everything seemed impossible. As she stood on the deck, a sudden alarm filled the ship. Red lights flashed everywhere. The ship shook violently, fell to the floor. "What is happening?" she cried out. Her guards ran to her. They helped her stand. One of them, a tall soldier named, looked at his screen with fear in his eyes. "Princess, we are under attack," he said. "Unknown ships, they came from nowhere." Outside the windows could see dark shapes moving in the blackness. Strange ships, unlike anything she had seen before. They were not from any species she knew. The enemy ships fired bright beams of energy. The ship was strong, but it could not fight so many enemies at once. The shields began to fail. Fire and smoke filled the corridors. "We must get you to safety," Princess said. He pulled her toward the escape pods. Did not want to run, she wanted to fight. But she knew she could not win this battle. If she died here, her mother would be destroyed by grief. She had to survive. Pushed her into a small escape pod. It was only big enough for one person. Looked at him with tears in her eyes. "Come with me," she begged. "I cannot, Princess," he said. "Someone must stay and fight. Someone must give you time to escape." Before she could say anything more, closed the door. The pod shot out into space. Through the small window, watched her ship explode in a ball of fire. Everyone she had traveled with was gone. Screamed, she cried. She hit the walls of the tiny pod with her fists, but there was nothing she could do. She was alone in the darkness of space. The pod's computer tried to find the nearest station, but the system was damaged. The navigation was broken. The pod began to drift. It moved slowly toward the small blue planet below. Earth. Far away, on the throne world of the Empire, Queen Bora received the terrible news. Her daughter's ship had been destroyed. There were no survivors found. The attackers had disappeared as quickly as they had come. The queen sat on her throne, her silver eyes filled with pain. She could not believe it. Her precious child was gone. The news spread across the empire. People wept in the streets. The princess who had smiled at everyone, who had given hope to so many, was dead. But Queen Bora refused to accept it. She sent hundreds of ships to search for her daughter. They looked everywhere. They searched every asteroid, every moon, every corner of space near the attack site. They found pieces of the ship. They found the bodies of the crew, but they did not find. "She is alive," the queen said to her advisors. "I can feel it, a mother knows." Months passed, then years. The search continued, but hope began to fade. Many believed the princess had died in the cold emptiness of space. Her body had probably drifted into a star or been pulled into a black hole. But Queen Bora never stopped hopping. Every night she looked at the stars and whispered a prayer for her daughter. She promised that she would never give up. She would search for 1,000 years if she had to. 10 years passed, then 20, then 30. The empire changed. New problems arose. New enemies appeared. The queen had to focus on ruling her people. But in her heart she never forgot. In her private room she kept all of things exactly as they were. Her clothes, her books, her favorite toys from childhood, everything waited for her return. "She will come back," the queen whispered every night. "My daughter will come back to me." But as the years went by, even the queen began to lose hope. The universe was so big. The chances of finding one small person were so small. Maybe really was gone. Maybe she had died alone in that tiny escape pod, drifting through the cold darkness forever. The queen grew older. Her silver eyes became tired. Her heart became heavy, but she kept the search going. Scouts continued to look for any sign of the lost princess. They searched planet after planet, system after system. They never thought to look carefully at that small blue planet near the yellow star. They never imagined that the primitive humans could be hiding their princess. Why would they? Humans were weak and simple. They were not worth attention. But sometimes, the greatest treasures are found in the most unexpected places. And sometimes, the beings we think are weak turn out to be stronger than anyone could imagine. On Earth, in a small fishing village by the sea, a young woman with pale blue skin was starting a new life. She did not know if she would ever see her home again, but she had found something she never expected to find. She had found love. The escape pod fell from the sky like a shooting star. It burned bright as it entered Earth's atmosphere. Below, on the dark ocean, a small fishing boat rocked gently on the waves. Was a simple man. He had been a fisherman all his life, just like his father and his grandfather before him. He lived alone in a small village on the coast of Korea. He had no wife, no children. His only company was the sea and the fish. That night was pulling in his nets when he saw the light in the sky. He watched it fall toward the water. There was a loud splash not far from his boat. Steam rose from the ocean where the hot object had landed. Was curious. He started his boat's engine and moved toward the spot. When he got there, he found something strange floating in the water. It was a metal pod, round and smooth. He had never seen anything like it. He pulled the pod onto his boat with great difficulty. It was heavy, but was strong from years of hard work. When he got it on deck, he looked for a way to open it. There was a small panel with strange symbols. He touched it, and the pod opened with a hiss. Inside was a woman. Stepped back in shock. The woman was beautiful, more beautiful than anyone he had ever seen. But her skin was pale blue like the morning sky. Her hair was silver like starlight. She was not human. For a moment was afraid. He thought about pushing the pod back into the sea. He thought about calling the police or the military. But then the woman opened her eyes. They were silver like 2 moons, and they were full of fear and pain. She tried to speak, but the words were strange. Did not understand them. She tried to move, but she was weak. She had been hurt in the attack and the crash. Was a kind man. He could not leave anyone to suffer, even if they were not human. He carefully lifted the woman from the pod and carried her to the small cabin of his boat. He wrapped her in warm blankets. He gave her water to drink. "It is okay," he said softly, even though she could not understand him. "You are safe now. I will help you." The woman looked at him with wonder in her eyes. She had expected humans to be cruel and violent. That is what the reports had said. But this man was gentle. His hands were rough from work, but his touch was soft. His face was kind. for that was who she was, began to cry. She cried for her lost ship, for the crew who had died, for her home that she might never see again, sat beside her and held her hand. He did not know who she was or where she came from, but he knew that she needed help. In the days that followed, took care of, he brought her to his small house by the sea. He kept her hidden from the other villagers. He knew that if anyone saw her, there would be trouble. The government would come. Scientists would come. They would take her away and study her like an animal. Slowly learned to speak Korean. She was very smart and languages came easily to her, taught her new words every day. He showed her how to cook Korean food. He taught her about the sea and the fish. He shared his simple life with her. And taught him too. She told him about the stars, about the empire, about the wonders of the universe. Listened with amazement. He had never imagined that there was so much beyond the sky. He had spent his whole life looking at the sea, never realizing that an even greater ocean existed above him. As the months passed, something wonderful happened, and fell in love. It was a strange love between a human fisherman and an alien princess. They came from different worlds. Their bodies were different. Their lives had been completely different, but their hearts were the same. Loved's kindness, her curiosity, her gentle spirit. Loved strength, his honesty, his simple goodness. With him, she did not have to be a princess. She did not have to worry about empires and politics. She could just be herself. One evening, as they sat together watching the sunset over the ocean, took's hand. "I know you want to go home," he said. "I know you miss your mother and your people, but I want you to know something." Looked at him, her silver eyes soft. "I love you," said. "I do not care that you are from another world. I do not care that your skin is blue and mine is brown. To me, you are the most beautiful person in the universe. If you have to leave, I will understand. But if you want to stay, I will spend the rest of my life making you happy." His eyes filled with tears. She had thought about her home many times. She had tried to fix the communication device in her pod, but it was broken beyond repair. She had no way to call for help, no way to let her mother know she was alive. But as she looked at, she realized something. She was not sad anymore. Somewhere along the way, this small village by the sea had become her home. This kind, simple man had become her family. "I want to stay," she whispered. "I want to stay with you." They were married in a quiet ceremony. Only his closest friends attended, the few people in the village he trusted with his secret. They promised to keep hidden and safe. A year later gave birth to twins, a boy and a girl. They named the boy and the girl. The children were special. They had their mother's silver eyes and their father's warm smile. Their skin was light purple, a beautiful mix of blue and brown. They were half human and half, the first of their kind. Held his children in his arms and cried with joy. He had never imagined he could be so happy. He had gone from being a lonely fisherman to having a wife and two beautiful children. His life was complete. Watched her family with a bittersweet feeling. She was happy, so happy, but she also thought of her mother, far away among the stars. Queen Bora did not know that her daughter was alive. She did not know that she had, wished she could tell her. "One day," she whispered to the stars at night, "one day I will find a way to let you know." But for now, she focused on her family. She taught her children about their history and culture. She taught them the language, their songs, their stories. She wanted them to know who they were, where they came from. Taught them about Earth, about Korea, about the sea. He taught how to fish. He taught how to cook. He showed them how to be strong and kind, how to work hard and love deeply. The children grew up in the small village, hidden from the world. They were happy. They had loving parents, a beautiful home, and each other. They did not know about the great empire their mother had left behind. They did not know that their grandmother was a powerful queen searching for her lost daughter. They were just children playing by the sea, laughing in the sunlight, loved by their parents. But nothing stays hidden forever. The universe has a way of bringing things together, of closing circles, of revealing secrets. Far away in the cold darkness of space, a scout ship was scanning the region near Earth. They were not really looking for the lost princess anymore. It had been too long, but they were still watching Earth, still studying the primitive humans. And one day, their sensors picked up something unusual, a biosignature that should not exist on that planet, a life sign. The scout could not believe what he was seeing. He checked the readings again and again. There was no mistake. There was on Earth, and not just one, but 3. He sent a message to the throne world immediately. The message would change everything. "Your Majesty," it read, "we have found something impossible. We have found Princess. She is alive." Queen Bora was sitting in her garden when the message arrived. The garden was her favorite place, full of flowers from 100 different worlds. She came here to think, to remember, to be alone with her thoughts. It had been 32 years since disappeared. 32 years of pain, of searching, of slowly losing hope. The queen had grown older. Her blue skin had become pale. Her silver eyes had lost their shine. She ruled her empire well, but a part of her had died with her daughter. When her advisor ran into the garden with the message, the queen barely looked up. She was used to reports about the search. They were always the same. Nothing found. No sign of the princess. But this time was different. "Your Majesty," the advisor said, breathing hard, "you must see this." The queen took the message and read it. Her hands began to shake. Her heart, which had felt dead for so long, suddenly came alive. She whispered, "My." She stood up so fast that her chair fell over. She grabbed her advisor by the arms. Where is she?" "Earth, Your Majesty, the small planet near the yellow star. She is alive, and the sensors show 3 biosignatures. It seems she is not alone." 3, what did that mean? Had other crash landed there too? The queen did not understand, but she did not care. Her daughter was alive. That was all that mattered. "Prepare my fleet," she commanded. "The fastest ships, the best soldiers, we leave at once." Within hours, the royal fleet was ready. 20 great warships, the pride of the empire. The queen herself stood on the deck of the flagship, watching the stars fly past. She had waited so long for this moment. She had dreamed of it, prayed for it, almost given up on it. But now it was happening. She was going to see her daughter again. The journey to Earth took 3 days. To Queen Bora, it felt like 3 centuries. She could not eat. She could not sleep. She stood at the window and watched the darkness of space, counting every second until she could hold her daughter again. When they finally arrived at Earth, the queen looked at the small blue planet with new eyes. She had always thought of it as unimportant, primitive, not worth attention. But this world had saved her daughter. It had given her a home when she was lost and alone. "Find her," the queen ordered. "Find my daughter." The ship scanned the planet. It did not take long. The biosignatures were clear. They came from a small village on the coast of a peninsula called Korea. "We are detecting 3 life forms," the sensor officer reported. 1 adult female, 2 children approximately 15 years old, half-blood. "Half-blood," the queen frowned. "What do you mean?" "Your Majesty, the 2 children are not fully. Their genetics are mixed, half human." The queen was silent for a long moment. Her daughter had had children with a human. She had. The thought was strange, wonderful, and frightening all at once. "Prepare a landing party," she said finally. "I will go myself." Her advisors tried to stop her. It was too dangerous, they said. They did not know what they would find. The humans might be hostile. The princess might be held prisoner. But the queen would not listen. She had not seen her daughter for 32 years. Nothing would stop her now. The royal shuttle landed in a field outside the village at night. The queen walked out with a group of soldiers. They moved quietly through the darkness toward the small house by the sea. Was the first to see them. He was sitting outside, enjoying the cool night air, when he noticed the strange figures coming toward his home. They were tall, taller than any human. Their skin was blue, glowing faintly in the moonlight. His heart turned cold. He knew what this was, had told him that her people might come one day. She had told him that they were powerful and proud, that they might not accept her human family. He shouted, running into the house, "Wake up, they are here!" Was out of bed in seconds. She looked through the window and saw the soldiers, and at the front of them, a figure she knew better than anyone. "Mother," she breathed. She ran to the door and threw it open. Queen Bora stood there, her silver eyes wide with emotion. For a moment, neither of them moved. 32 years of separation, of pain, of longing hung between them. Then ran forward and threw herself into her mother's arms. "Mother, mother, I am so sorry. I could not come back. I tried, but I could not." The queen held her daughter tight, tears streaming down her face. She had not cried in decades. Queens were not supposed to cry, but she could not help it. Her baby was back in her arms. "My child," she whispered. "My beautiful child, I never stopped looking for you. I never stopped believing." They stood there for a long time, holding each other, crying together. The soldiers watched in silence. They had never seen their queen show such emotion. Finally, the queen pulled back and looked at her daughter, was older now but still beautiful. Her silver eyes were the same. Her gentle smile was the same. "You are well," the queen said. "You are healthy. How did you survive?" Turned and looked at her husband, who was standing in the doorway of their home. Looked small and weak compared to the tall soldiers. But he stood straight and proud, not afraid. "He saved me," said. He is my husband." The queen's eyes moved to the human man. She studied him carefully. He was ordinary, short, brown-skinned, simply dressed. Nothing special about him at all. "A human," she said, and her voice was cold. "Yes, mother, a human. The kindest, bravest man I have ever known. He found me when I crashed. He nursed me back to health. He protected me, loved me, gave me a home." The queen did not respond. She did not know what to think. Her daughter, a princess had married a primitive human. It was unthinkable. It was a scandal. What would her people say? Then two figures appeared behind. A boy and a girl, both with silver eyes and purple skin. They were beautiful, strange, and clearly terrified. "And these are my children," said, her voice soft. "Your end." The queen stared at the children, half blood, half human. In the eyes of many, they would be seen as impure, lesser, not truly part of the royal family. But as she looked at them, the queen saw something else. She saw eyes in their faces. She saw her own mother's chin. She saw generations of royal blood mixed with something new, something different. The children looked back at her with fear. They had heard stories about all their lives. They knew how powerful their grandmother was. They did not know if she would accept them or reject them. The queen took a step toward them, then another. She knelt down so that she was at their eye level. "Hello, children," she said, and her voice was gentle now. "I am your grandmother. I have been waiting a very long time to meet you." The braver of the two spoke first. "Are you really a queen? Mother told us you rule many worlds." "Yes, child, I am a queen. And one day your mother will be queen too, and after her perhaps one of you." His eyes went wide. "Us, but we are half human, the other will not accept us." Queen Bora looked at the boy for a long moment. He was right. Many of her people would not accept half-blood heirs. There would be protests, anger, perhaps even rebellion. But as she looked at her, the queen made a decision. She had lost her daughter once. She would not lose her again. And she would not lose these children, these precious gifts that she never expected to receive. "Let me worry about the others," she said. "You are my blood, you are my family, that is all that matters." She stood up and turned too. "Come home with me, daughter. Bring your husband, bring your children. Your place is with your people." But hesitated. She looked at the small house they had built together, at the village that had been her home for so many years. "This is my home too, mother," she said quietly. "I love my people, but I also love this world. I cannot just leave." The queen frowned. This was not what she expected. She had thought would be desperate to return, eager to leave this primitive planet behind. But she could see the truth in her daughter's eyes, had built a life here, a real life, and she was not willing to give it up. "We must talk," the queen said. "There is much to discuss." And so they went inside the small house, the alien queen and her lost daughter, to talk about the future. Outside, the soldiers waited in the darkness, and the stars watched silently from above. Everything was about to change. Inside the small house, the air was thick with tension. Queen Bora sat on a simple wooden chair, looking uncomfortable and out of place. Her beautiful robe seemed wrong in this humble home. Her crown sparkled in the dim light of the oil lamp. Sat across from her, holding his hand, the children, and sat on the floor nearby, watching with wide eyes. "You must understand my position," the queen said. "I am not just a mother. I am the ruler of 1,000 worlds. Everything I do, every choice I make, affects billions of people." "I understand," Mother replied. "But you must also understand mine. I have been gone for 32 years. I have built a life here. I have a family." "Your family is among the stars," the queen said firmly. "Your duty is to your people. You are the heir to the throne. When I die, you must rule." Listened quietly. He did not understand all the words they were saying, for they spoke partly in the language, but he understood enough. The queen wanted to take away. She wanted to take his children away. "May I speak?" asked suddenly. Queen Bora turned to look at him. Her silver eyes were cold and sharp. "What could a human have to say to me?" she asked. Stood up. He was not as tall as he was not as strong or as powerful, but he was not afraid. He had faced storms at sea that could destroy ships. He had fought against waves as tall as mountains. A queen, even an alien queen, did not frighten him. "I want to say thank you," said. The queen raised an eyebrow. "Thank me for what?" For giving me the most wonderful woman in the universe, for being her mother, even though you come from a world so different from mine." The queen was silent, surprised by his words. "When I found she was hurt and afraid," continued. "She had lost everything, her ship, her crew, her home. She was alone on a strange world, surrounded by people who might hurt her or use her, but she was brave. She was strong. You raised her to be that way. I also want you to know something," he said. "I love your daughter. I love her more than the sea, more than the sky, more than my own life. Every day I wake up grateful that she chose to stay with me. Every day I try to be worthy of her love." He took a deep breath. "I know I am just a human. I know I am nothing compared to your people. I cannot fly between the stars. I cannot live for centuries. I am weak and simple and ordinary, but my love is not weak. My love is not simple. My love is the strongest thing I have." Queen Bora stared at this human man. She had expected him to be afraid, to bow and beg, to offer her whatever she wanted. Instead, he stood before her like an equal, speaking about love as if it was the most important thing in the universe. "And your children," she said, "what of them? Do you not want them to know their heritage? Do you not want them to see the wonders of the empire?" "Of course I do," said. "I want my children to know where they come from. I want them to be proud of both their parents, both their worlds. But I will not let them be taken from me. I will not let you separate our family." His voice was calm, but there was steel in it. This was not a man who would give up easily. Queen Bora felt something strange stirring inside her. Was it anger? No, it was something else. Something she had not felt in a long time. Respect. This human, this simple fisherman, was standing up to the most powerful queen in the galaxy. He was fighting for his family with nothing but words and courage. He had no weapons, no army, no power, but he was not backing down. "Mother," said softly, "I did not fall in love with because he was strong or powerful. I fell in love with him because he is good, truly good. When I was lost and hurt, he did not think about what he could gain from helping me. He just helped. He asked for nothing. He expected nothing. He simply showed me kindness. She looked at her husband with love in her eyes. In all my years I never met anyone like him. Our people are proud and ambitious. We think about power and status and glory, but thinks about feeding his family, about fishing enough to survive, about being a good person. His goals are small, but his heart is big. The could learn from humans, she continued. We think we are so advanced, so superior, but humans know something we have forgotten. They know how to love without conditions. They know how to be happy with simple things. They know how to keep going even when everything is against them. The queen was quiet for a long moment. She looked at her daughter, at the human man, at the two half-blood children who watched with worried eyes. You want to stay here, she said finally, on this primitive world with this human. I want to be with my family, said, wherever that is. And if I order you to come back, if I use my authority as queen. His eyes hardened. Then I will refuse. I am still your daughter and I love you, but I will not leave my husband and children, not even for you, not even for the empire. Mother and daughter stared at each other. The tension in the room was so thick it was hard to breathe. Then did something unexpected. He walked forward and knelt before the queen. Your Majesty, he said, and his voice was humble now. I am just a fisherman. I do not understand politics or empires or alien things, but I understand one thing. You love your daughter. I can see it in your eyes. You came across the stars to find her. You never gave up on her. He looked up at the queen. I am asking you, not as a subject asking a queen, but as a father asking a grandmother, please do not take my family away. Please let us stay together. Queen Bora looked down at this human man kneeling before her. His eyes were wet with tears. His hands were shaking, but he kept his head up, meeting her gaze. In that moment, the queen saw something She saw the love that had talked about. She saw the courage, the determination, the unbreakable spirit. This man would die before he let his family be taken. And in that moment, Queen Bora understood why her daughter had fallen in love with him. Humans were not weak, they were small, yes. Their lives were short, their technology was primitive, but their hearts were powerful, their will was unbreakable, their love was fierce. The queen stood up. Everyone in the room held their breath. Stand up, she said. He stood slowly, unsure of what was happening. The queen reached out and took his hand. Her blue fingers wrapped around his brown ones. You have shown me something tonight, she said. Something I had forgotten, something my people have forgotten. She looked at. Family is not about blood, she said. It is not about species or planets or empires. Family is about love, about sacrifice, about standing together when everything tries to pull you apart. She squeezed his hand. You are a good man, a better man than many I know. I am proud that my daughter chose you. Started crying and looked at each other with hope. Does this mean we can stay together? Asked. The queen smiled at her granddaughter. It was a real smile, warm and kind. Yes, child, you can stay together, but I have one condition. Everyone waited. I want to know the queen said. I want to be part of their lives. I want them to know to visit our worlds, to learn our ways. And one day, when they are ready, I want them to take their place in our empire. She looked at, and you, human, you are now part of the royal family. You will be honored among my people. Anyone who disrespects you disrespects me. Did not know what to say. An hour ago, he had been ready to fight an alien empire to protect his family. Now he was being welcomed into it. Thank you, he managed to say. Thank you, Your Majesty. Call me mother, the queen said. You have earned it. And in that small house by the sea, two worlds came together. A human fisherman and an alien queen. A princess and her half-blood children. Different species, different cultures, different everything. But one family. The night was ending, and a new day was about to begin. The sun rose over the small village, painting the sky in beautiful shades of orange and pink. Queen Bora stood on the beach, watching the light spread across the water. She had not slept all night. There was too much to think about. Behind her, the soldiers waited quietly. They were confused by everything that had happened. They had expected to rescue their princess and bring her home. Instead, their queen was standing on an alien beach, looking at the ocean like she had never seen water before. Came and stood beside her mother. She had changed out of her night clothes and was wearing a simple dress, the kind the village women wore. "It is beautiful here," the queen said. "I never took the time to notice." "I thought the same thing when I first arrived," replied. "I was so focused on getting home that I forgot to look around. Then showed me this beach. He showed me how the sun colors the water. He taught me to listen to the waves." She smiled at the memory. "That was when I started to love this world, when I stopped trying to escape and started trying to understand." The queen nodded slowly. "I have been a ruler for so long. I have made decisions that affected billions of lives, but I never stopped to look at a sunrise. I never listened to waves." "It is not too late, mother." They stood together in comfortable silence, watching the sun climb higher. Later that morning, the queen made an announcement. She gathered her soldiers and spoke to them in a clear, strong voice. "What happened here stays here," she said. "The princess was found on this planet alone. She was living peacefully and wishes to maintain connections to both worlds. There will be no discussion of her human husband until I am ready to address our people. Is that understood?" The soldiers nodded. They were loyal to their queen. They would keep her secrets. The queen turned to, "I must return home. There is much to prepare, but I will come back, and I want you to visit our world too. Bring your family, let your children see their heritage." "We will," promised. They embraced one more time. The queen held her daughter tight, not wanting to let go. 32 years of separation had taught her how precious every moment was. "I love you, my daughter," she whispered. "I love you too, mother." Then the queen knelt down to face her, and stood nervously, still not quite believing what was happening. "You are special," the queen told them. "You are the first of your kind, half human. Some will see this as a weakness, but I see it as a strength. You have the best of both worlds inside you." She touched their faces gently. "When you come to visit me, I will show you wonders beyond your imagination. I will show you cities that float in the sky and gardens that grow in the darkness of space. I will introduce you to creatures you have only dreamed of, and I will teach you to rule." Looked uncertain. "Grandmother, I do not know if I want to rule. I like fishing. I like being here by the sea." The queen laughed. It was a real laugh full of warmth. "You sound like your mother when she was young, always wanting to explore, never wanting to sit on a throne." She stood up and looked at who was standing nearby. "Take care of them," she said. "Take care of my daughter, Mai. If anything happens to them, I will come back with my entire fleet." Smiled, "I will protect them with my life, mother." The queen nodded. She turned and walked toward her shuttle. Her soldiers followed. At the door of the shuttle, she stopped and looked back. Her family stood on the beach, waving goodbye. A human fisherman, an alien princess, and 2 half-blood children. The strangest family in the universe. And the most beautiful. The queen waved back, then stepped inside. The shuttle rose into the sky and disappeared among the clouds. In the weeks that followed, everything changed. The queen returned to her throne world and began preparing her people for the truth. She started slowly, telling only her most trusted advisors about survival and her human family. At first there was shock. Some advisors were angry, a human in the royal family, half-blood children in line for the throne. It was unacceptable, it was a scandal. The empire would never accept it. But the queen stood firm. "My daughter is alive," she said. "I exist. These are facts. Anyone who cannot accept them can leave my court." One by one, those who opposed her fell silent. The queen was powerful and determined. Crossing her was dangerous. Then the queen did something unprecedented. She sent a diplomatic mission to Earth. Not to conquer, not to study, but to talk. To build a relationship between two worlds. The humans were shocked when the ships arrived. Governments panicked. Militaries went on alert. People around the world watched in fear and wonder as alien ships descended from the sky. But they came in peace. They came with gifts and technology. They came with an offer of friendship. And at the center of it all was family. Became the bridge between two worlds. She spoke to human leaders and explained who they were. She told them about her life among humans, about her husband and children. She showed them that the two species could live together, could love each other, could build a future together. The simple fisherman became famous. News reporters wanted to interview him. Scientists wanted to study him. World leaders wanted to shake his hand. He was the man who had won an alien princess's heart. He was the human who had stood before a queen and defended his family. But through it all remained humble. "I am just a fisherman," he would say. "I just got lucky." But everyone knew it was more than luck. It was courage. It was love. It was the human spirit that refused to give up, even when facing the impossible. And grew up between two worlds. They spent part of the year on Earth, learning to fish and cook and live simply. They spent part of the year among the stars, learning to lead and rule and use their powers. They became symbols of hope, half-blood children who belonged to two species, living proof that different peoples could come together and create something new and beautiful. Years later, when Queen Bora finally died, took the throne. She became the new queen of the empire, the first to have a human husband at her side. And she ruled with wisdom and kindness. She remembered the lessons she had learned on that small blue planet. She remembered the love of a simple fisherman. She remembered that true strength was not about power or conquest, but about family and love. Under her rule, the Inhumans became allies. They shared technology and knowledge. They explored the universe together. They learned from each other. The humans learned to build starships and travel among the stars. They learned to appreciate simple things, to slow down, to love without conditions. And at the center of it all was one family. A fisherman who had pulled a stranger from the sea. A princess who had found her home on an alien world. Two children who carried the future in their blood. Lived to be an old man, surrounded by his family. When he finally passed away, peacefully in his sleep, there were tears on 1,000 worlds. The human who had changed the universe with nothing but love. They built a memorial for him on the beach where he had first found his escape pod. It was a simple stone facing the sea. The inscription read, "Husband, father, friend. He taught the stars how to love." Every year on the anniversary of his death would return to that beach. She would sit by the stone and watch the sunset, just as they had done together so many times. "I miss you," she would whisper. "I miss you every day." And somewhere among the stars she knew he was watching. Her simple fisherman, her brave human, her one true love. The story of the alien queen's missing daughter became legend. It was told across the universe, on 1,000 worlds to billions of children. The story of how love conquered fear, how courage conquered pride, how two different species found common ground. And whenever someone asked what made humans special, the answer was always the same. Their hearts, their unbreakable, infinite, impossible hearts. They were small and weak and lived such short lives. But in those short lives, they loved more fiercely, hoped more strongly, and fought more bravely than any other species in the universe. That was humanity's gift to the stars. That was the lesson they learned from one simple fisherman. And that was why, forevermore, humans were never called primitive again.